All right, I'm Johnny Caruso. You're on the Unpopular Opinion Show. We got a doozy for you folks. It would appear we getting some white man justice here. You know, white people, we catching hell in these YouTube streets. Every white person's racist, you know what I'm saying? Don't matter how many ties to black folk you have. But apparently, this one white, pale skin melon person, he don't want a lawsuit for being called racist for $3.2 million. Goddamn, if you know what? I take that back. I was gonna say I ain't never been called a racist, but the minute I start, seeming like I'm leaning conservative and supporting Donald Trump and things of that nature. I had a black friend of mine for 32 years. This fool, yeah, he wanted to tell me I was sounding racist. Then he said, well, I didn't say you was a racist. I said you was sounding racist. So people, it's unless you could sit people down and show them what they've been looking at, because we know what they've been looking at, and then give them the long form videos to let them decide for themselves, they're not going to go by what you say. That's why I put these videos out there. And because, if I'm watching them, why not share with you guys? But look, let's get into this video. It would appear that the lawyer for Black Lives Matter got sued and lost $3.2 million 5 years ago when they were on a crusade of calling all white people racist. And this just happened to be the wrong white person to do it to. Let's get into it.
The story that led to protests.
This is absolutely unthinkable.
This is not a prank. This is beyond bullying. You are evil. They are evil.
A Black Lives Matter group, of course, got involved. As police and school officials investigated the case, though, it began to unravel. The full story wasn't adding up. Van was never formally charged, and instead he brought a civil suit against Humphrey's mother, Summer Smith. Now, 5 years later, a jury has awarded Van $3.2 million in damages, finding Smith inflicted emotional distress and invaded his privacy.
All right, so this woman and this lawyer.
See, that would appear to me when they just they like, look, we got somebody we want to go after. We're going to go after him. We're really not litigating it because it's virtual signaling. It's going to cost us money to take this guy to court. We gain more in the public eyes who believe in our nonsense and whose white fathers, the Democrat elites there who will come and pad our donation pockets, for our cause. So it was really about finding someone they could label as such and not taking it to court because they don't want all the facts to come out. But by that time, it's like legal fraud. You know what I'm saying? I'm basically defame you, right? And then I know people are sympathetic to my cause, so they're going to come support my foundation in the tunes of tens, 20 millions of dollars. And, months down the road, I'm going to be quiet about it. It's all gone away. Hey, you know what? We're not going to say nothing else. We got our money. But the guy you defame, he stuck all over, smeared all over the internet as being an accused racist. So apparently he wasn't having it. Y'all gonna let's get more into this.
Lawyer have to pay this white kid $3.2 million for calling him a racist. Let's talk about it.
Star Trek Fleet Command is the ultimate strategy game where you can build entire fleets, you can forge alliances, and explore.
Let's be honest. In today's world, the math isn't adding up lately. Push loans. They built
things to Samarian or against any adults who might have known what was going on.
We certainly hope that the appropriate criminal charges be filed in this action. It's being characterized as bullying, but this far exceeds bullying. What these young men did was criminal. This was assault. They shot at him with a BB gun, and they slapped him and then forced him to drink urine. This is not bullying. This is assault, and they should be charged appropriately. And also what Samarian did not mention.
Look, full stop. If that's really what happened, you know, they deserve Big Brother to go pay a visit. Slapped them, made him drink urine. Hell, that's enough for me. That's But you know, that's what they allege happened. And I'm talking like this because it appears the facts are out now, and that ain't quite what happened. But let's see.
That they were calling him racial slurs the entire time. So this rises to the level of a hate crime. So we would like to see charges brought against all of the young men who assaulted him, as well as the parents who allowed this to happen in their home.
So you believe that this was racially motivated?
Absolutely.
Now, the GoFundMe was successful. The family was able to raise $120,000 for both counseling for the young student and private school. So the family has laid out a case that there was an assault and it was motivated by hate because they called them racial slurs while they were doing it. But there are two sides to every story. Here is the defendant, Asher Van, and he's going to tell you what happened from his perspective.
Well, me and my friends from school, we had a sleepover for my birthday, and we played a prank. First one, went to sleep, got pranked. It was immature and stupid, but it was nothing like how it was perceived in the media.
How do you feel about that prank now?
It was immature. It was stupid. It was nasty, but that's not who I am, and that's not me today.
Well, look, man, tell us what you did. That's not me. They're alleging that you slapped them and you pissed on them. You know, see, me, I can get over the whole racial thing. Like, if I don't like you, I just call you a bitch. You know what I mean? That's straight and direct. So I'm really curious, did they really do this shit? You know what I mean? Let's see.
When we, talk about this immature prank, did you force him to drink urine?
No. No one forced anything. Nothing like that.
One of the allegations.
I'm gonna be honest, I think he lying. You know why? Because when I lie, I take my time to tell you what I'm gonna say, to try to sound convincing. So I just take my time and go real slow. So, I mean, that's my tall tale when I'm lying. And he look, I'm gonna rewind it. Y'all see how he answers the question.
When we, talk about this immature prank, did you force him to drink urine?
No. No one forced anything. Nothing like that.
Nah.
One of the allegations was that you and others used racial slurs. Did you do that?
No. This was a friend for 3 years prior than that. He would frequently go to my house. I treated him like a brother. He was just a friend. I wouldn't use that, and obviously if I did, he wouldn't have been at my house for 3 years straight. It was the story that was pushed 5 years ago. It was pushing as a fake racism, as torture, as I had no idea this was happening.
What did you do?
Even though me and my dad were the one picking him up after school, taking him home. It was played out so differently, so wildly. That's not how it happened.
So those are two very, very...
But you notice he never did say what happened. This is a tough one.
Very different stories, and police had to investigate.
Were there any criminal charges in this case?
The grand jury declined to indict. There was a time where I believe that there were some citations issued, but all of those were eventually dismissed. Meanwhile, there was a criminal investigation. The school, under pressure, reversed course, and
This is a professional lawyer, folks. As in, this is a lawyer that the best money could buy. Look, man. Looking at that white boy, he's prepped. He's in front of the best lawyer that money could buy. He's taking his time to say no, to deny stuff. Y'all think when he's Crump jumped up with his friends, he's still this little innocent boy? Look, man, I went into this video thinking, yeah, we finally got him. Calling us all white people racist, we sue their ass. You know, I went into this really feeling like, all right, yeah, you know, make BLM pay, you know, because they're race hustlers. The whole Democrat Party are political hustlers and racist, homophobic, transgender, whatever. They just add that to their slash of hustle. But I thought we had one, man. But look, I'm somebody who just sees through bullshit, and I'm calling bullshit. I think they did that boy something. Now, whether or not it was racist, it don't really have to be racist. Is the point? You know what I'm saying? It could just be assault. It could be assault, and maybe the black mother bit off too much by getting Benjamin Crunk and NAACP and BLM involved and trying to make it a big thing and, you know, going after money. And then these people lawyered up and like, nah, y'all gonna go after our money, we're gonna go after your money. My opinion, this is the Unpopular Opinion Show, and there you go.
this case kind of took off. In the 5 years since, the criminal cases turned out to be much ado about nothing. The grand jury declined to indict. The federal district court found that the school district was not able to punish for this conduct and apply definitions that did not apply in the law.
So now those are two really different stories. On one side, you have this white family saying, hey, this kid has been staying with us at our house for about 3 years. We used to take him back home and to school every day. How all of a sudden are we racist? Matter of fact, he's literally coming to a sleepover for his friend's birthday party. When you have the other side, the mom and the attorney saying, no, that's a family of racists and they tortured this kid and this was a racially motivated incident and the family is evil and racist.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you.
So now the next question is, well, why the hell did the black kid's mom and his lawyer have to pay $3.2 million to the white kid? Well, for the full legal breakdown, I'm going to bring in my boy, D-Law from D-Law and Associates. Link to his channel is in the description. He's going to let you know exactly what happened in the criminal case and what happened in the civil case and why this mom and this lawyer are on the hook for $3.2 million.
All right, so let's break down the actual legal charges because there are two sides to this.
Make you think twice before calling the white folk racist. Look, man, politicians need to be going to jail and people need to be accountable for allegations. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of feel like there's some truth there to this one. But just calling people racist, knowing it could just ruin their whole careers when there's no proof, or allegations of rape when there's no proof, or you're doing a smear campaign on a presidential nominee, so all of a sudden 18 people come out and say, oh yeah, he assaulted me 20 years ago. There needs to be shit like this happening, and I guarantee you things would be a lot clearer, you know. But like I said, and my heart tells me they did fuck with that little boy. I don't, maybe it was racially motivated, but he looked small compared to the other guy. So I would just think they was just bullying him. I do think they made him drink pee. You know what I'm saying? The way he was real slow to say no and had a high-priced lawyer right there, was like, look, when they ask what you did, don't say what you did. Just say that wasn't how it happened. Notice he didn't tell his story, right? So let's get back to the video.
The criminal side and the civil side. Let's talk about it. First, the criminal case. Summer Smith pushed for the boys to be charged, and the police did file charges. But listen to what the charges actually were. A Class C misdemeanor. For those of you that don't know, it's the equivalent of a traffic ticket. So Smith's attorney wanted at least a Class A misdemeanor. Check this out. But here's the thing. Those charges didn't even stick. The case went to the grand jury, and listen to what happened. So the grand jury declined to indict. All citations dismissed. That means no criminal record. Nothing. Now we turn to the civil case. And this is where things just
Now look, I'll get back to the video in a second. If you come to my house and you leave with a black eye, it's kind of hard to say that I didn't black your eye. And they probably gonna charge on that, you know. If you come to my house and I made you drink piss and you leave, how is there proof that you were drinking piss? And if no one in my house says you were drinking piss, how are you going, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there needs to be collaborating testimonies of people saying that this, you know, for it to stick. And it would seem like the only people who they were going to be able to ask was the white guy and his friends. And they all were in on it, so they not ratting on themselves, right? So it's a little different than if he went to their house unscathed and came back with bruises all over. That's something that, you know, hey, we can put two and two together. But if they did make you drink something, there's no way of proving that. You know, unless they put a drug in his system and the mama took him to the doctor and then they found a drug in his system and then they found out that, hey, these teens was buying said drug, you know. So I really think something unfortunate happened to the young man, but unfortunately there was no way he could prove it. Then on the flip side, if they went and got people with money to go after these white people, the white people was like, well, we got people with money that's going to go after your lawyer with money. I think that's how this whole thing unraveled.
So Asher Van's family sued Summer Smith and her attorney, Kim Cole, and listened carefully to the specific legal claims. So the jury found two things: intentional infliction of emotional distress and invasion of privacy, publicizing a minor's private information. Now, some people might ask, why not defamation? Listen to the attorney explanation for this. So they couldn't file for defamation in Texas because of the 1-year statute of limitations. But under intentional infliction of emotional distress, it carries a longer window, and that's where they got him. The jury came back with a $3.2 million verdict, total damages. And here is the kicker. The verdict was not just against the mother. It was also against the attorney, Kim Cole. She was found liable too. That, folks, is crazy. So the attorney got hit too. Guys, I'm telling you, that's almost unheard of. Now, here's the reality with regards to collecting. Listen to what Nichols says about the money. So apparently, it's not just about the money. It's about accountability. And Summer Smith says she's ready to file her appeal. While this is all well and good, guys, one thing you have to understand, just because you get this big verdict of $3.2 million does not mean you're going to actually collect it. That's a whole different and very complicated process. Let me tell you, I know for sure. So as of right now, 0 criminal convictions against the boys, a $3.2 million civil judgment against the mother and the attorney, and a pending appeal. That is where we currently stand legally. Kind of crazy. So guys, here's how I see this situation. All the criminal charges gone. The defendant, who was originally charged, now sues the plaintiff and ends up winning a huge verdict. Now, whether they're going to collect it, that's a whole nother story. And the mother, who originally charged or pushed for the charges, now has to appeal her civil penalty. What a huge mess.
All right, so now let's keep it 100. Something did happen at that sleepover. Kids urinated in a cup and put it to some other kid's mouth. That's disgusting. That's wrong. I'm not going to sit here and act like that's okay. And I understand a mother's instinct to protect her child. But here's the problem. There's a difference between advocating for your child and weaponizing race to destroy another child's life on national television. They went on Good Morning America. Their attorney called it a hate crime. BLM marched in the street, marched in front of the other kid's home. People threw bricks through his window, death threats against a 13-year-old. When a grand jury looked at the case and said nothing is here.
All right. You see, that's when they lost. When people start throwing, I believe what happened to that little boy happened. But when people start marching, no. But when people start throwing bricks through that white boy's window, and you're the white boy and the lawyer, and they don't have nothing on you that will stick, but you really are being traumatized and scared for your life, because rightfully so, they should beat that ass, right? But you got a case. You know, to me, this was a case, a verdict for the bullshit that's surrounding every little case of racism and people want to run to the street. That was a win for all the vandalism and the riots. That's what that was. Unfortunately, I think it happened to the wrong person, because I think that little guy, you know, look how little he is. Like, he could have been causing hell, but in no circumstances should they been pranking him to the point where they scared the shit out of him or whatever they did. You know, unfortunately, it happened to the wrong person. But I think sometimes when it comes to justice, we all know how justice operates. And it doesn't always come down fairly on who it should come down on. Look, man, that's the video. If y'all haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, the Unpopular Opinion Show, go ahead and check it out. We also got Johnny Caruso Uncut, a couple channels there. That's more hip-hop version. If you have got a comment to leave, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. Follow me, like me, subscribe me, share me, anything you want to do with me. Here we go. Let's get it.